Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. So today we're doing something a little bit different. We are comparing the Netflix show Emily in Paris to a real life marketing workplace. And so I've been working in marketing for over 10 years now, and I've jumped around a bit and worked in a few different places. So I will be comparing it to my experiences. So if you're not hooked on the show like me, let me give you a bit of a brief overview of what Emily in Paris is.
May I introduce Emily, the American girl who's come to work with us.
So Emily in Paris follows Emily Cooper. So she is a girl from Chicago. She's got a master's in communication, who gets, I guess, what we would call a secondment to go and work in the Parisian branch of her firm. So her firm acquires a smaller marketing agency which is based in Paris. So Emily goes there to go and give an American perspective to their marketing.
But your experience is not with fashion and luxury brands.
True. Most of my experience has been in promoting pharmaceuticals and geriatric care facilities.
So Emily's role is a marketing executive at the agency called Savoir, and her role, from watching the show, seems to be focused a lot more on creating social media content. So my role as a marketing manager over the years has varied from creating social content to organising events to planning, fully integrated marketing campaigns. It's really varied from job to job. So firstly, before I get into sort of the work, I thought I'd start with the commute. So Emily has this lovely commute where she seems to be able to walk from her lovely Parisian apartment to her office, which is lovely. It's gorgeous. Oh, I think the decor is stunning. Whereas my commute is more of driving to the train station to get on the train to then get on the tube across London. So it's quite different. So I thought I'd go on to talk about the work environment. So Emily's work environment appears to be, she works in the office the majority of the time, as in 5 days a week. I've heard her make one reference to working from home, but generally it seems like she was based in the office. So I would say for myself, prior to COVID, 2013 BC, I had my first job that had the option of working from home, which to me was like a really new thing. Not many places were doing it at that time. But we were only required to be in the office 3 days a week. The other 2 days a week, they didn't want to see us. And that was more down to one, desk space, but two, environmental reasons. And I love being able to split the work I do in the office and the work I do at home. Following that job, the majority of my roles were based at least 4 days in the office or 5 days in the office. And then since COVID, or after COVID, most of my jobs have been hybrid based, which means that I'm doing 1 to 2 days in the office and the rest of the time at home, which I actually much prefer. I like being in the office for sort of collaboration, and when I actually need to see stakeholders, when I actually need to speak to colleagues, it's more social. We go for coffees, we chat, etc, etc. But when I actually need to get my head down, I much prefer to be at home. So I think I actually prefer that about my job than Emily's job, because it doesn't seem like she has that kind of flexibility as much as I would say I've had in my roles. So I touched on this earlier, but talking about the daily tasks. So Emily seems to spend her time, running around Paris and just living her best life and, doing all the things that I wish I did in my 20s.
What are you doing?
I'm late for French class.
You sure it's in that suit jacket of mine you stole?
But within her role, she seems to focus heavily on social media, so pitching campaigns to brands that come into the agency.
To discuss, though, is building more content on social. So, Gabrielle, I'm gonna have to come to the restaurant and get some behind-the-scenes footage of you at work.
But also thinking of these really outside of the box ideas for marketing activations, but they seem to be more based around PR, if that's the right term. It seems to be more around raising awareness of the brand, I would say, rather than nurturing that relationship with the customer. So for example, one of the campaigns was for, I think it was for the promotion of a mattress, and her idea was to have the bed outside, I think her idea was to put the bed in the Louvre for people to come and lie on the bed and get a feel for the mattress. And I think the idea was that you could basically sleep anywhere on that mattress because it's like so comfortable, you're guaranteed a good night's sleep. So I thought that was a genius idea. They couldn't get the permission to have the bed in the Louvre, but they actually ended up finding a really picturesque street in Paris, so that the campaign was sort of like sleep under the stars, which I thought was lovely. Thought that was a great idea, really outside of the box. One of the things that I picked up from watching that sort of campaign is their lead time is really short. Like if we were able to do something like that, I think the lead time would be a lot longer. Like in the episode, it's kind of Emily proposed it and the bed was out there like within the week. I just personally don't think that's something that we would be able to do. Like our lead times for our campaigns are generally quite long, if I'm honest. Like it takes like 30 days for us to do an email campaign, and that is us working to a tight schedule. It takes time to get anything done. So I don't see Emily doing much in the way of data analysis for her campaigns. Like I hear her talk a little bit about some of the insights around customers and what an American customer would think, which I find quite interesting because I guess with us it's a little bit different in the sense of we don't think, oh, what would a UK customer think? We break our audience down into like segments based on their sort of different personas, so we try and tailor the messages based on each persona. Like we would say this person is time poor, we want to remove as much friction, remove as many barriers as possible, whereas this person is more digitally active, so these are the channels that we would engage with this person with, or we would use to engage with this kind of person. So I'd say we do a little bit more of that in sort of the job that I do or have done over the past few years. So I find that quite interesting. She does a lot of client meetings, so that's something that I don't tend to do as much in my job now, although my clients are internal clients, if that makes sense. So I work in marketing, but we'll face off to like different areas of the business, and those different areas of the business are our clients. However, it's not the sort of environment that we have with Emily where there's kind of a presentation on the wall and she's saying, I'm proposing, this is what we're going to do for your campaign.
The superior quality of Heston's beds allows us to dream our best dreams, but why must that only be in our bedrooms? Let's harness the power of social media and ask people to come sleep with us. Stage the bed in the most irresistibly Instagrammable spots in this beautiful city.
It doesn't tend to work like that for us. However, we do that within wider marketing. So a recent campaign that I was working on, I had to present that campaign to wider marketing to say, this is the campaign, this is what we're trying to do, this is the audience, these are the channels we're going to use, and here's a visual for one of the assets that we're going to use as a part of this campaign. But that's not something that I would typically do directly with clients, at least not in the job that I'm doing now. Talking about Emily's workload, now I'm a little bit jealous of Emily and her workload, because what workload? I'm not being funny, but she gets to swan around Paris all day and being such a hater here, going for lunches with Mindy.
I'm going out to lunch. A long lunch with wine.
It's 11 a.m.
Well, c'est la vie.
Going to events in the evening, having time to mess with both Alfie. Oh, what's the other one's name? Gabriel. How did I forget that? So she has time to mess with both Alfie and Gabriel on top of work. So it seems to me that she tends to work on one client campaign at a time, or with one client at a time. So it seems to me that she works as sort of the account manager for just the one, maybe maximum two. Now I'm quite jealous of that, because in my role we don't typically tend to work on just one thing at any one time. I think at the minute I'm working on like 3 or 4 different things with an additional 2 that are side of desk. So I'm quite jealous of Emily and her workload, but it doesn't seem like the workload is as heavy there. I mean, the culture seems to be quite different there, with Luke pointing out, you know, in France we don't live to work, we work to live, whereas I do feel like here it is very much live to work, which I really would love to break away from. I feel like the work-life balance I've had in the last year hasn't been great. Like there's been long hours, there's stress, there's just not having the time or even the energy to do the things that I actually want to do. And I want to be able to use work to allow me to do the things that I truly want to do, the things that I'm truly passionate about. So there's a lot of office politics, I would say, in Emily's role, but that seems to be more about sort of a culture clash between the French and the Americans.
It's about all of us sharing a global vision.
You would like to destroy our French soul.
Thou shalt always maintain a positive attitude. Thou shalt avoid workplace romances.
You told French people this? No wonder they hate you.
And there's a bit of Emily unintentionally maybe treading on other people's toes. So there'd be the case where Julian is pitching to a client, and whether they're keen or not keen on the idea, Emily would sort of chip in and then like unintentionally tread on his toes by proposing an idea to the client there and then, and the client would love that idea, and Julian then doesn't get the credit for his own client because they're now running with an idea that Emily has. So that can be quite tough and quite challenging in the workplace. And there's humour in the workplace when Emily bought that cake for Luke, so it's nice to see that they've got a bit of like office banter going on, and I'd say we have that in our office. Like, we do get the opportunity to laugh, to be silly, which is great. I wouldn't say we step on each other's toes as much, but I guess the structure of our sort of environment is different. Like, I don't work for an agency, so I don't really have the perspective of what it's like to work for an agency, least of all a luxury marketing agency. I guess to summarise, I wouldn't say that in the roles that I've worked with, I've had the opportunity to kind of be as creative or spontaneous as Emily has had. So some of the ways that she has promoted brands has been through her own personal social media. That's not something that I would typically do in my line of work. We would typically use the corporate social media, and for social campaigns, for example, when she was promoting the vaginal lubricant, to tweet something like the vagina is not masculine, that's just something that I would never be able to get approved for any of my campaigns. Like, any tweet, any Instagram post, any blog would need to be written, planned in advance, checked by somebody, pre-approved. Like, that just would not occur. Of course, I'm free to post whatever I like. Well, not quite whatever I like, but within reason I'm free to post on my social media, but I just wouldn't typically do that. Also, and I was doing a little bit of research around Emily in Paris and sort of the marketing firm, and I found a blog and it did talk a little bit around this. The kind of lines are blurred in regards to what Emily's job is, because one of the things that she would tend to do is throw ideas out there, and she'd propose like a whole new product line, or say, you know, you should do this limited edition drop with this perfume that you have.
Release what you have as a limited edition perfume, like what McLaren's doing here tonight. It all comes down to the quality of the fragrance. Put it in an amazing bottle and make it available only to your best customers at a premium. Once it hits the open market, the price could go crazy.
That's just not something that in my line of work would get to do. Like, there's a whole separate team that works on that. There's product managers, there's a whole proposition team that looks after stuff like that. Me as a marketing manager wouldn't, you know, typically have the opportunity to propose something like that. So that's something that I say is quite different. Whether it's different because it's a small marketing firm, I don't know. Maybe it's just Emily and the way that she operates, I don't know, but that's not something that I've typically found to be reflective of the environments that I've worked in. One of the things that I do quite like is that she proposes ideas and they are open to trying them. And Sylvie's just very much like, okay, Emily, off you pop. You had this great idea, go and execute it. And that's just not the sort of processes that I would go through. But saying that, even if I had an idea for a campaign, it's not that I wouldn't be able to do it, but it's just I'd have to jump through a number of hoops to be able to get that idea actually out to market, and that would also take a while. Whereas with Emily, it seems like she proposes something and then it's out the door within a day or 2 days. So my battery's dying and this video is getting quite long, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little bit different. I was thinking of doing a bit of a career series and I thought I'd kick it off with this video.
Bang!
So if you guys enjoyed it, please give this video a like. Drop me a comment below. Do you work in marketing? How does your real life marketing experience compare to Emily in Paris's? I would love to know. And subscribe, stick around, join the fam, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.